So the idea started when I was sitting at home during COVID, watching way too much Netflix. I got stuck into shows about restorations, and I thought it would be a great idea if we find an old car, restore it with the help of the community, film the restoration, sell the car off, and whatever profits we made, donate all of that to the charities that we support.
So the goal is $100,000, hopefully more.
Exciting day today. We found a car.
It is absolutely perfect for what we want to do.
Pink, I reckon. Yeah.
That's why we're not asking your opinion.
Or I reckon a candy apple red.
It's just got too much rust on it.
A lot of rust and holes everywhere, more or less.
Really disappointing because the list is getting long. We're going to need a lot of help with it. It's no longer just talk, and yeah, the pressure's on. I'm feeling kind of nervous.
Backpack for kids. We're coming for you. Let's do this.
Costa called me, his video guy, and pitched it down the phone like it was already a done deal. I said yes straight away, but what I didn't say was find an old car, restore it, sell it, give it all away is about 6 impossible things stacked on top of each other. I didn't know it yet, that it would take 4 years to get to the bottom of the stack.
But we knew that it wouldn't work unless we got the team behind us. So we called a meeting, pitched the idea to the team, and decided, hey, what do you think? And we got a good response. So because we got a good response, we decided, let's go ahead.
I was in that room, plenty of nodding, plenty of smiles, and a few faces quietly wondering whether they just volunteered their Saturdays for the next little while. Turns out they had.
The charities that we support are all children's charities. I've got a daughter, so it's something that's close to home, and it's something that everybody really understands.
A lot of our funding has dried up, a lot of our partners have dropped off, and it's fantastic that Stillwell Ford are still able to sponsor and partner with Kickstart for Kids.
Everything after this got hard, but that was the reason nobody walked away when it did.
The search for the car was crazy in the beginning. We had no idea where to start. What we knew is that we had to find a car that's cost effective. So we were looking for the cheapest possible car we could find in the best possible condition. So we were only looking at old Fords. We found the first one, drove out, had a look. We weren't crazy about that first car that we saw.
Notice who's along for the drive. Runner Crash Repairs. They were sending their own people out there on their own time to poke at old Fords for free before a single dollar had been spent. Keep count of the favours in this story.
While we were out there, the owner showed us this Ford Cortina that he had. It was absolutely gorgeous, but asking just a little bit too much. He was asking back then $20,000. And knowing now what I know, I would have bought that Cortina.
Nobody in that paddock knew that the pandemic would send prices to the moon. The Cortina is probably out there, somewhere, gorgeous, laughing at us.
We got desperate, and I reached out to Chris. He said to me, hey, I'm going to look around on the internet. I got a call at 8 o'clock to say, hey, this car's just listed on the internet. Somebody's just put it online. I think it would be a great project car. What do you want me to do? We pulled the trigger. He bought the car.
Chris is one of the dealership's buyers, a man who finds cars for a living. So naturally, he found this one at home, at night, unpaid. 8 o'clock, it just went up. 8:05, it was theirs. Sight unseen. Off the internet. What could possibly go wrong?
They gave a commitment to us the night before that they're going to sell the car to us. They loved the idea of what we were going to do with it, and they stuck with us and honored the sale. The best part about it is that we managed to pick up the car for the asking price of $4,500.
Strangers, these people. They could have started an auction on the spot. Instead, they kept a handshake made down the phone line because they liked what the truck was for. Add it to the count.
The car was a lot bigger than what we originally wanted. An F250 is a big vehicle, so we knew it was going to be more work, more paint, more everything. But it was just an opportunity, and everything lined up. When it came time to pick up the car, we relied on Pete's Transport. They've been a great supporter throughout the whole project. From the day that they first helped us pick up the truck, Pete's have been fantastic.
Pete's Transport, favour number... honestly, I've stopped numbering them. What Costa isn't telling you is that the truck would go on to be moved more times than anyone had planned. And every single time, Pete's turned up. Remember that for later.
We got there on the day. The truck was still running, so we fired it up, drove it onto the back of the truck, and the adventure began. Drove it back to the dealership. got it back here, everybody had a good look, and we started making decisions about what we were going to do with this truck. Strangely enough, the biggest thing everybody wanted to talk about was what color we're going to paint this truck. So everybody had an opinion, and everywhere we went, it was the number one question we kept being asked.
Rust in the floor, later, engine, eventually. What colour is it going to be?
Let's grab a line.
Everyone from the workshop to the showroom had a verdict, and none of them have matched.
Great.
The list of things nobody had yet: a paint shop, a parts supplier, an electrician, a trimmer, and a timeline anyone believed in. What they had was a truck, a colour argument, and enthusiasm.
The next thing we had to do was start pulling the car apart.
Gas tanks out.
Gas tanks out, trains, engine. But he wants it to roll around, so leave the wheels in.
Remember the faces in the meeting room earlier on, quietly wondering about their Saturdays? This is where they found out. Weekend after weekend, unpaid, armfuls of spanners. The favour count is now officially uncountable.
I was also there, I didn't really know what to do. I contributed the only way I knew how, and I started just bagging parts and labeling things and putting them away in boxes so that we could hopefully find them again later when we needed them.
The dealership principal, the man with the vision, the man whose idea this whole thing was, on sandwich bags, hopefully find them again later, is carrying a lot of weight in that sentence. File that away for later.
The engine came out, it ended up taking a whole day. We got it out and it was a big day. Everybody was excited to see the engine finally out of the truck.
A whole day for that one engine, and when it's finally swung clear, everyone was happy. And everyone looked into the empty engine bay, and at the state that was left, went a bit quiet.
At this stage, the body had been freed up to be sent to Rhino Crash, so Pete's transport came along, picked it up, dropped it off at Rhino's. They got their whole team in over a weekend and pulled the whole truck apart. That's when we started realizing exactly how many problems we had. The rear tailgate was bent. The tub was just absolutely beat up and bent up and in really bad shape. And the worst was still to come. When we pulled the carpets out, we realized that the whole floor of the cab was completely rusted out and we weren't going to be able to use it.
$4,500, sight unseen, off the internet, at night. This is the part of the story where that sentence comes home to roost.
The tub was in really bad condition. It needed hundreds of hours of panel beating to get it back to original condition. It just wasn't feasible. It sat around for close to a year and a bit while we were looking for another partner. So it was really difficult for all businesses at that stage. A lot of them were just fighting to survive.
A year flagged, labelled, stripped down, stripped to nothing, waiting. Nobody filmed a year of nothing because there was nothing to film. This is the chapter where most projects like this quietly die. Next part, the phone call that saved it.
We stumbled across Frank from All Classic Restorations, and instantly from the very first phone call when we told him what we were trying to do, he was just all in. Both feet, jumped in. He said he was going to help us, and he was true to his word from beginning to end.
After a year of silence, one phone call. Frank didn't ask for a business case. He asked when the truck would get there.
The floor pan was the biggest problem that we had with the truck. We originally ordered 2 new floor pans for driver and passenger, so we had to go to plan B. We got onto F100 and Ford spares out in Lonsdale, called Mark, told him what we needed, and he suggested that we get a donor cab, which he organized for us. And I had to cut off the bottom half of the donor, cut off the bottom half of our truck, and just put it all back together. It was a lot of work. It took welding, it took effort, measuring.
This is a second-hand floor that we have cut to size and fitted. Down on the ground there is all the crap that we cut out of it, all the rust.
He donated all of the refurbished parts, so all the parts that were refurbished were actually donated by Mark. The only parts that we had to pay for was things that he had to source new, and even those he gave them to us at his cost price. So without him, the list of parts that we had to put together would have broken the project.
We have broken the project from the man who doesn't do drama. 2 strangers, Frank and Mark, pick this thing up off the floor. Next, putting it all back together. This is what the year of waiting was for. I got 1 day in the paint booth at All Classic, and this is what they did with it. The blue stripe went on after I left, so you have to take my word for it. But the white speaks for itself. Yeah.
At this stage, we settled on a color scheme and went for white with a blue stripe, which just gave it a bit of a 90s feel. And we thought it was just that little bit of period correct. When the team found out that we were going to be putting a blue stripe down the side of it, they decided to put some blue onto the engine block as well.
There it is, the great colour debate settled at last. White, blue stripe. And the team celebrated the decision by painting the engine to match on a part of the truck almost no one would ever see. That's where the project was by now. The trim was the last name on the early list of questions, and it stayed unanswered the longest. The answer was Jason of Jason's Trim Shop and Embroidery. He heard what it was for and said yes, and rather rarer still in this story, said fast.
I'm really proud of my team that came in and put in the effort on their own time on weekends.
Remember the sandwich bags? Labelled in Costa's handwriting, 3 years old? Well, this is the part of the story where every one of them had to be found, opened, and put back in the right place.
We had to go through the wiring harness and remove all the wires that had nothing to do with the truck anymore, because it used to be an ambulance, and that took us a lot of time to go through it and clean up the wiring harness.
Casually dropped deep into his own story, the truck used to be an ambulance.
When we had the project about 80-90% complete, we decided that we were going to have a reveal night where we were going to get all the contributors together in a way of saying thank you to them. It was just a great evening, thanking everybody and showing off the truck for the very first time.
Only this project would throw a party at 90%.
That final 10%, it's always the hardest bit. We still had to get the wiring put together. We still actually had to get the truck running because it wasn't actually running yet. And that's where Mark from F100 Spares really came in and helped us. We were stuck.
A truck that looked finished and didn't run, one last favour down the phone line to Lonsdale, and then finally, after 4 years, it started. Next, what it was all for.
The initial idea was to get it to auction. At this stage, we were into the truck to the tune of about $24,000. So we knew we needed to get a number upwards of $50,000 so that we can get at least $25,000 to $30,000 raised for charity out of the profits.
24,000 in, 4 years down, and the whole thing now hinged on a number starting with 5. For a 1992 farm truck, no pressure.
And that's where Lloyd's Auctions came through and agreed to help us, waive their fees and all of that. Once it didn't get the reserve price that we had set for it at the auction, we bought it back.
And then the auction did what auctions sometimes do. Nothing. 4 years of favours, and the hammer never fell. You're allowed to wince here. We did.
And decided we're going to do what we do best. We are a car dealer after all, and we know how to sell cars. So we photographed it, we put it up on our own website as a used car, and we sold it as we would any used car.
After all of it, the 4 years, the donor cab, the favours beyond counting, the truck sold in the most ordinary way a truck can sell. On the website, next to the Rangers.
I came in for a recall. I saw it sitting on the showroom floor and I automatically thought it was a display piece because it obviously looked quite new and shiny. And I said to them, I said, wow, if that ever went on the market, it'd go pretty quick. And they said, oh, it is tomorrow. Sat on it for about a week and then we thought, you're never going to get something like this again. So pulled the trigger and here we are. 1992 is in my birth year. My wife, Gemma, it's her birth year as well. And I thought, well, my little boy, Oscar, is 5 now. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to have that significance maybe in 20, 30 years time when it's still sitting in the shed. That was the other that got us over the line a bit, was that the money's going to a charity and it's no profit for these guys and it's all going back to the charities, which is awesome.
Once we sold the car, we were able to present the money that we raised from it at our golf day. And in the end, we did manage to raise about $30,000 from the sale of the truck, which we donated to the charities. And it was just fantastic to finally, after 4 years, be able to put that money forward and give it to them.
The family who sold it turned up to the handover too, 4 years on to see their old farm truck off. And then the father asked the new owner a favour. His daughter was getting married in a month. Could the truck be there? Of course it could, the last favour in the story, and the truck itself got to do it.
And the silence is long.
Would you do it again?
And letting.
Before he answers, let me step out from behind the camera for a minute. So let me tell you what the footage doesn't show. Costa runs a busy dealership. Cars to sell, staff to look after, a service department, customers, targets, every single day. And this truck on top of all of it. Taking it on was ambitious, bordering on unreasonable, and he knew it. There were people who thought he shouldn't. Good people, reasonable people. Nobody stood in the way. A few quietly ready with an "I told you so" if it ever fell over. Now here's the part he hid. Even for me, every dollar this truck swallowed was a dollar that couldn't go to the kids. That was the real weight of it. Not the work, the arithmetic. Spend too much, and 4 years of everyone's goodwill ends up in an apology. It never fell over because he never let it. Whatever else was going wrong, the truck stayed front of mind, week after week. The tenacity, the quiet pushing forward, when parking it forever would have been so easy. So, would he do it again?
To be honest, there were many times during the 4-year period that I actually thought we were never going to finish. At the time, I just wanted it to finish, and I would never dream of doing it again. Now that it's done and I'm looking back and we're finally able to hand that money over, yeah, I would love the opportunity to do it again. But I would definitely need the right partners and the right community support, because it's not something that Stillwell Ford could do on its own.
All right, you're done. Well done.